If I told you a couple of years ago that Baker Mayfield would become an electrifying and game-changing quarterback, would you believe me?
Baker now is absolutely under discussed. He is a really good NFL quarterback.
Right before your very eyes, he is becoming the clutchest quarterback in all of football.
Mayfield on first down, throws, end zone!
So he is a legitimate MVP candidate now.
He feels like a perfect fit in Tampa.
Baker Mayfield is an absolute baller.
And it feels like every time I see him, he's better than I saw him last time.
Playing at an all-pro level, playing at an MVP level.
He's playing great football. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Honestly, probably not, because not too long ago, Baker Mayfield was on the verge of being a bust. A failed #1 overall pick that was in over his head, and that was now hopping from team to team praying for any opportunity to even touch the field.
Baker Mayfield, you look awful. Just awful.
I'd like to be Baker Mayfield's agent, and I'm going to tell him at 28 years old, it's time to retire. You lead the NFL in interceptions since you entered it. You're not a franchise quarterback. You've never grown out of the chutzpah and the tough guy thing.
It's my fault that I thought he should have went #1 overall. It's my fault that I expected him to be a superstar, because when you look at it, he's not that talented.
You do not look like a starting quarterback in the National Football League, and your career is in jeopardy.
How can a player that had fallen from the highs of being called a franchise savior to the lows of being cut by a team eventually come out on top and claim his throne as one of football's best and cockiest players? Well, to figure that out, we have to see exactly why Baker Mayfield was so highly touted as a prospect. Baker Mayfield, in his 3 years starting for the Oklahoma Sooners, was entertainment at its finest. If you watched college football back then there is no doubt you knew his name. With his flashy playstyle that he put on display week to week, and with the absurd numbers he accumulated, Baker Mayfield cemented himself as not just the best quarterback in college football, but also by far the biggest trash talker.
You were voted the biggest trash talker in the Big 12?
Go cheer on basketball!
Right there, now that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate, uncalled for, and that right there, NFL GMs are going to see that.
You know, sidelines, grabbing stuff, whizzing footballs. Come on, you're going to be a franchise quarterback. What's going through your mind when you do that during games?
Have you played football past high school?
No, he's not going to plant it in midfield of the O, is he?
Yes, he is. Yes. I also got one vote for the nicest player in the Big 12.
He was cocky, arrogant, overconfident, smug, egotistical, whatever term you want to use, he was that. Naturally, those traits would make Baker Mayfield one of the most polarizing prospects when he declared for the 2018 NFL drafts.
Lots of these coaches and general managers come to the Senior Bowl, come to the Combine with the expectation that these guys are going to treat it as a job interview. That's not who Baker really was in Mobile. It was a little bit more of, this is who I am, take it or leave it.
So an NFL head coach called Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield, quote, over the top cocky. When they asked him about other quarterbacks, he rolled his eyes.
Still, his talent was undeniable, and for a lot of teams, it more than made up for his, quote, character issues.
With the first pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
Quarterback, Oklahoma.
It is Baker Mayfield.
But there was one glaring issue. Not for the Cleveland Browns, but for Baker Mayfield, because being selected with the first overall pick, the entire burden of the Browns organization was placed on his shoulders. He was given the title of a franchise savior. He was the one who was going to bring stability to a team that had been considered the bottom feeders of the NFL for years. A team infamous for ruining quarterbacks.
We're talking about a Browns team under Hugh Jackson, who I like a lot, but he's 1-31 as a head coach with the Browns over the last 2 years, 0-16 last year. Everywhere you turn, the Cleveland Browns have been absolutely, totally inept in embarrassing proportions. He's a big-time player, but it's just such a risk that worries me only because it's the Browns.
However, despite the stigma surrounding the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield was looking to put an end to that narrative, and he brought hope to Browns fans with his explosive rookie season.
Down the field, firing, he's going for Landry, down by the end zone, a tumbling catch for a touchdown!
3,700 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, and 14 interceptions was a good enough season to be cemented as one of the best seasons ever by a Browns quarterback. Propelled by Baker Mayfield, the Browns ended the 2018 season 7-8-1. Generally considered a bad season, but for the Browns it was great because this had been their best season since 2007. This looked like a massive step forward for the Browns. Gone were the days of bad quarterback play and being labeled an incompetent franchise. With Baker at the helm, the Browns were turning a new leaf, and his 2020 season all but confirmed that theory. Despite expectations of the Browns being quite unexciting, they shocked everyone when Baker Mayfield had his most efficient season up to that point and led the Browns towards making the playoffs, where they would be facing off against the Steelers in the wild card. The Cleveland Browns were underdogs going into this game.
Nah, I think they're still the same Browns team I play every year. I think they're nameless, great faces. At the end of the day, like, the Browns is the Browns. I'm just happy we're playing them again, this Sunday.
But when game day came around, they did this.
Near side to the left. Baker looks it over in the shotgun. Screen pass right side. Here comes Chubb. Nick Chubb is in. Touchdown. Baker's got the snap on down at 4. Delivers the ball. It's caught. Landry's got it. He's at the 10, the 5. He leaps and scores. Touchdown. Mayfield takes a snap. That's going to do it from Pittsburgh, from Heinz Field in the opening round of the playoffs. They knock off the Steelers 48-37.
The Browns won their first playoff game in nearly 30 years. They weren't the butt of the joke anymore. They were a legit competitive team now. However, following this special season, Baker Mayfield was still doubted as a quarterback. He was progressing, but people were still hesitant to give him that title of a franchise quarterback. And unfortunately for Baker, those negative subconscious feelings would only be exacerbated because throughout the year he sustained multiple injuries that he played through, but it was apparent that he wasn't himself.
So I fractured the bone. So when I had the labrum done and that fracture, the inflammation and everything, I had no function in my left shoulder. Then when it started hindering my play and it going downhill, that's when I was like, shit. And that's when I started losing my own self-confidence and just losing myself.
His play declined significantly, and his team suffered for it. As a result, the media doubted him, sports analysts doubted him, and even his own team doubted him.
Odell Beckham Sr. He posts a video of Odell Beckham Jr. being wide open and Baker Mayfield clearly not throwing him the ball.
I was pretty surprised by the video and, the intentions and the feelings behind it. I'd be lying if I said otherwise, but hurt? No. I'm good.
Anybody that talks to Odell Beckham Jr., he'll tell them this. He is absolutely positively miserable. His soul ain't even there to play some football with Baker Mayfield, okay?
My source told me that team is very close to turning on Baker because there's no more Odell.
In Week 16, Christmas Day against the Packers with playoff hopes on the line and with the whole nation watching, Baker Mayfield had arguably his worst game of his entire NFL career.
They've converted on 7 of their last 9 third downs, and this one's picked. And on the first 4 interception game in the young career of Baker Mayfield, the Packers take over, and they're less than a minute away from their 12th win of the year.
I don't think it was anything preparation-wise, mentally. It was just missed throws, uncharacteristic, and I hurt this team.
Baker Mayfield had his worst professional game, standalone national TV game over the weekend, and I do believe that Andrew Berry, the GM, has already made his decision on Baker Mayfield. I just don't think they think Baker is face of the franchise material.
Despite being criticized to no end for an entire season, the Browns still believed in Baker Mayfield, and he was still going to be the starter for 2022. Well, at least that's what they told him. But that promise ended up being a complete lie, because not too long after, they signed his replacement.
Deshaun Watson is expected to be a member of the Cleveland Browns. When this trade is completed, Watson is expected to get a 5-year, $230 million contract that is fully guaranteed. That is $80 million.
This move let the whole NFL world know that the Browns had given up on Baker. So, he wanted out of Cleveland.
No, I feel disrespected, 100%. Because I was told one thing and they completely did another. That's what I'm in the middle of right now.
You told me I'm your guy for 2022, and now I'm not your guy. Yeah, I'm not happy with that.
Former Browns
quarterback Baker Mayfield, the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 draft, is packing his bags and he is headed to the Carolina Panthers. Now, this comes as Baker Mayfield has made it pretty clear he does not want to stay in Cleveland.
Although the Panthers weren't the most desirable destination for a quarterback, Baker Mayfield was given another opportunity at being a starter. However, the end result didn't change. If anything, he was worse. A 1-5 record in games he started more than confirmed people's theory that the Browns had made the right choice. Baker Mayfield wasn't who he thought he was.
But when you are the number 1 pick, when you are considered to be better than Lamar Jackson, than Josh Allen, than Saquon Barkley, you don't even get to a second contract. You are a bust.
You can keep changing the coaches. You got a limited quarterback.
He's overrated as hell.
Completion percentage and QBR in there.
Breaking news right now. The Panthers are expected to release quarterback Baker Mayfield today. Mayfield could get picked up on waivers by another team once he's released.
That was a tough day, honestly, but it wasn't the lowest. The lowest days were when I was in limbo, not knowing where I was going to be. There was definitely times where I lost confidence, where I had to take a step back, look in the mirror, and think about, am I doing something wrong here? What can I do to fix some things? And
the Los Angeles Rams now have claimed Baker Mayfield off waivers, and he could even play on Thursday night.
It just so happens to get picked up with a 5-game season in LA. When I met with the coaches out there, and was like, all right, we're not making the playoffs. You need a fresh start.
Now on the Rams with seemingly nothing to lose, with no expectations, with no pressure, Baker Mayfield wanted to go back to his old ways. He wanted to go back to having fun playing football and just let it fly. And when Thursday night football against the Raiders came around, he did just that.
98 yards from victory with Baker Mayfield at the controls. Why not?
Mayfield from his own end zone caught.
Right sideline, Skoranek the target. Did he moss him? He did! He brings it in at the 40 of Las Vegas. 23 remaining, 15 seconds. Mayfield flings it left side end zone. Caught! Wow! Caught by Van Jefferson! 16 up, and a Matt Gay extra point can win it. Mayfield, Baker, the touchdown maker.
He orchestrated a 95-yard touchdown drive to win the game, and he made a statement.
Wow. The longest drive to win a game in the final 2 minutes in NFL history. It is a moment like that, Brew, that can turn around a player's career.
I thought last night got him one more shot to be a starting quarterback in this league. Absolutely.
After proving that he was still in fact capable of being a great quarterback in the NFL, he got a real opportunity in Tampa.
The post-Brady era of Buccaneers football begins with Tampa Bay reportedly signing former number 1 overall pick Baker Mayfield. The question is, are the Buccaneers getting their quarterback of the future, or are they getting a TV commercial superstar?
I want to go somewhere that we can win right away, and this is that place.
Baker Mayfield was still tremendously doubted when he was signed by the Buccaneers on a 1-year prove-it deal. But under the leadership of head coach Todd Bowles, and with a roster that was talented yet underrated, it didn't take long at all for him to show everyone just what he can do with a competent and stable organization. He led the Buccaneers towards winning the division and brought them to the playoffs, where despite being underdogs, they upset and dominated the reigning NFC champions.
Here's another broken tackle. This is the rookie Trey Palmer, and he is gone. Touchdown, Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers saw the potential in Baker as the face of their franchise, so they rewarded him with the biggest contract of his entire life.
The Bucs and Baker Mayfield have agreed on a 3-year deal with a max value of $115 million to keep him in Tampa, according to our lead NFL insider.
How did Baker Mayfield respond after getting this massive contract? Well, by putting up his best season ever in 2024. He threw for 4,500 passing yards, 41 passing touchdowns. He won the NFC South for the 2nd year in a row and led the Bucs to a 10-7 record. The Baker Mayfield that was so highly touted and revered coming out of college was back. Even Colin Cowherd, the sports analyst, has been the most critical of Baker since he entered the NFL, couldn't deny his turnaround.
Dear Baker, it takes a big man to admit when he's wrong, and you are undeniable. A flag-planting rebel, a team captain of a pirate ship, the walk-on quarterback forcing foes to walk the plank. Yours, CC.
Baker Mayfield is currently playing the best football of his life. In the first 3 weeks of this 2025 season, he led game-winning drives back to back.
Mayfield steps through. Touchdown on top with 6 seconds to go.
To back.
Mayfield's pass is caught. McLaughlin's kick is right down the middle.
He's putting up incredibly efficient numbers, and with each week that passes, he's solidifying himself more and more as one of the NFL's best quarterbacks.
There's nobody I would want with the ball in his hands in a game for my life right here, right now, than Baker Mayfield. Nobody's throwing it better than Baker Mayfield. Baker is the truth.
What the Cleveland Browns did to Baker was shameful, despite all he had done for that franchise, bringing them their first playoff win in almost 3 decades, bringing them exciting football, and more importantly, bringing hope to the city of Cleveland. They screwed him over, never gave him any stability with coaches, allowed him to play through severe injuries, talked bad about him, and tossed him out like dirty laundry when they signed what they believed to be his upgrade in Deshaun Watson. And for that reason, they're still trying to get back to the highs of Baker's 2020 season. It turns out that even the most talented quarterbacks can't succeed on teams that are actively trying to ruin them. If we learned anything from Baker's journey, it's that the biggest determining factor in a player's career, besides their own ability, is simply whether or not they have an environment that supports them and actually believes in them.